Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Lazy Bear Designs. On this tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to make this beautiful A-shaped dress with a Peter Pan collar. So this is the back view. Let's get started. Great, so these are the materials I'll be needing for my tutorials: ruler, tape measure, scissors, chalk, pins, 3 yards of African print, and then 2 yards of my lining. Okay, so at this stage, I'll then open my 3 yards of African print into 2 and then fold about 20 inches onto 8, as in onto the right side of the fabric, like this. Okay. Dress length for my client is 40 and then bust measurement is 36. So I'll be using neck wideness and then width of 3.5 by 3.5. Across back actually is 15 inches. So 3 inches by 3 inches and then 0.5 as my seam allowance. So 3.5 by 3.5. And then the shoulder, the length of the shoulder line is 4 inches and then seam allowance. So 4.5 inches. Okay. And then the dress length, 40 minus 6 inches. The 6 inches is actually a goddess I'll be creating at the hem of my A-shaped dress. So remaining 34 inches plus 1 inch as my seam allowance, making 35. So I'll be cutting dress length of 35 inches. And then I sloped down the shoulder about 1 inch and then came down the armhole about 9 inches. Okay. So I drew my armhole curve this way. And then measured my dress length, that is 35 inches. It's actually 34 plus 1 inch as my seam allowance. Okay, so the bust measurement for my client is 36 divided by 4 is 9 inches plus 3 inches allowance, 1 inch as seam allowance, and then 2 inches as ease. Okay, so I then connected the hem line and then connected it to the armhole, as in after taking the measurement for my bust. So I connected the points to it. Since it's an A-shaped dress, I wouldn't want the side and side to be pointed. So I will then slope it down below the actual length about 1.5. And then the side, I didn't want it so pointed. So I also came up about 1.5 and then sloped it, connecting to the hem line. I then cut out to cut my back. So this is my back. I'm about to cut the back. I then left about 1 inch zip allowance at the back of the pieces, and then I cut out. After cutting out, I'll be cutting the same on my lining pieces, just that I'll let the lining hang in the pieces. Please, when cutting the back, I then divided the front neckline into 2, and then I cut out the back neckline. Okay, so the next thing to do is to cut out my sleeves. The sleeve length is actually 10 inches, but I'll be cutting out 8 inches plus 1 inch as seam allowance, making 9 inches. Okay. And then around arm is 14 inches divided by 2 is 7.5. 14 inches divided by 2 is 7 inches plus 2 inches as 1 inch as my seam allowance, and then 1 inch as ease, so making 9 inches. So around arm I cut out 9 inches. Sleeve length I cut out 9 inches. I'll then cut out and cut the other side of the sleeves. Okay, so after cutting out, I'll then work on the hem or the goddess to be added to the hem of the dress. Okay, so I took away 2 inches from the sleeve length because I'll be attaching a band at the hem of the sleeves. Okay, so I'll be cutting about 8 inches at the hem. That's the hem gathers. I'll be cutting 8 inches, 1 inch at both sides as seam allowance. Great. So after cutting out the hem gathers, I'll be cutting out the side pocket. I'll just fold the fabric into 2 and then cut it in such a way that the person's hands can fit in. So I'll be cutting 2, unfold, then divide it into 2, making 4 pieces. Okay, so this is the first 2. I'll be cutting the second 2. So this is what I have after cutting out everything and then cutting out the lining as well. I'll then place the back lining onto it this way. Go ahead and then sew 1/2 inch at the neckline, turn to the right side and then top stitch like this, and then top stitch. Afterwards, I will divide the back into 2 and then sew the zip allowance. I did the same thing for the front. So this is it after sewing the zip allowance and then indicating the zip allowance. I'll then open the back into 2 and then place the front onto it. Okay. I'll then go ahead and then sew the shoulder line about 1/2 inch and then fix in the pocket. So when I was about to fix in the pocket, I then measured from shoulder to waist 15 inches. I marked the same thing at the other side as well, 15 inches. Great. So after marking out, I then placed the pocket onto the right side of my pieces. So this is it. I'll place each pocket or each pieces onto the right side and then sew 1/2 inch down. Great. After pinning and then sewing down, I'll then go ahead and then sew 1 inch at the side, bring it to the pocket area all around and then to the hem as well. Great. So this is what I have after sewing the shoulder line and then the side pockets. Okay, so the next thing to do is to go ahead and then cut out the sleeves band. No, I'll be cutting a band, sorry. So I will cut a band of the length of the sleeves. Okay, so this is it. By the wideness of about 2.5. After cutting out the sleeves band, I'll then go ahead and then measure the neck all round and then cut another band for the neck or collar for the neck called a Peter Pan collar. Okay, so what I add, I'll be dividing it into two and then add half-inch allowance at both sides with a wideness of about 2.5. You can make yours like 3 inches depending on how wide you want it. So I will divide it into two and then share it for the neck. Okay, so at this point I went ahead to sew the sleeves band. So this is what I have. Okay, so I'll measure around 7 inches plus 1 inch as is, making 8 inches. Then I'll mark, and then when we come to the armhole area, I marked 9 inches. Okay, so I'll then connect it. I'll then connect it to the round arm area. Okay, I'll be doing the same thing on the other side as well, and then go ahead and sew. Afterwards, I will then attach the neck. I sewed one side about half an inch downwards and then turn to the right side. Okay, so this is it. I'll then locate the center for the dress as in the center front by notching. So I then turn to the right side of the dress and then placed the collar onto the right side of the neckline this way, meeting the zip allowance. Afterwards, I knitting the unfinished area with my bias. I'll pin down and then sew half an inch downwards. I'll be doing the same thing on the other pieces of the collar. Great, so this is what I have after sewing down the collar and then fixing in my sleeves. Great. At this point, I'll go ahead and then fix the zip this way and then attached the hem gathers. So this is the pieces I cut out for the hem gathers. Since it wasn't enough, I cut out another pieces to be joined. Afterwards, I'll create my gathers. So this is what I have after creating the gathers to be attached to the hem of my A-shaped dress. I'll go ahead and then place it onto the right side of the dress and then sew half an inch all round. Great, so this is what I have after fixing the zip and then attaching the hem gathers. So beautiful. Okay, you can make a long strip to use as belts at your underbust. Great, thank you all for watching my videos. So this is the final look after placing it on a dummy. I made a long strip to be used as belts at the underbust of the dress. This is so beautiful, and then the back view as well. See you all in our next video.